Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's report. It's, what is it, January, February, March? April 9th. Wow. April 9th, 2025. Well, let's get right into it so we can give you the lowdown on the full down, right? Solar wind right now, 498.1 kilometers a second, and proton density is up around 10. We've had a C2 and an M1 in the last 24 hours. Yeah, that's what's happening. Solar wind is sparking minor geomagnetic storms. We've seen those over the last couple of days, minor ones. And we've had two in the last 24. 4.67 happened today at about 900 hours, and we are at 1500 hours. Okay. No, at 00 hours. Okay. Yeah, all right. Or 300 hours. I think it's 300 hours, yeah? Yeah, 300 hours. So that's where it ended, and we are at 1500 hours. So, and right now the current is 367. You'll see here, here's the M that happened just yesterday at about 2300 hours, and here we are right now at 1520 hours. So several hours ago we had that, and we have several little C flares, which we just had a C2. Nothing spectacular. Looking at the solar wind, the magnetopause where it's bouncing, minor adjustments to the dynamic pressure, the BZ's in the south, barely. Between -6 and -3, and proton density stays around 10. Solar wind stays roughly around 500. We were expecting this solar wind, this brief solar wind, to come in due to a coronal hole that was there. We'll look at it again. There's the coronal hole, right? We're about right here where I'm at, maybe even right over here, depending on where this satellite is. Yeah, and a lot of activity over here and up in here. We have some more stuff coming through the corners. Yeah, and nothing to be too concerned about. Solar wind and solar weather is a little bit unsettled. Class M chance is 40%. Class X is 5%. Nothing too strenuous. Let me see here. I think we only had one sunspot. 48. Yeah. 48 right over here is where the M's are coming from. So when it gets to the edge, we'll be seeing what happens. The last kickoff from 48. Today being the 9th, we all go on down to the 9th. We have two rocks out there. Both are the same size, roughly, about 45 feet across. Traveling between 5 and 4 kilometers every second, and they are 2 million to 3 million miles away. All right? So that's about the size of that. Ground magnetics, there are some ground magnetics happening. All right? I'm going to see if there's any areas of watching. Well, I got over North America. Last night I'm watching what's happening up in Iceland. The last report was they're a little bit concerned. The influx of magma is at the highest level it's been since this whole sequence has begun back in 23. And they're not sure where it's going to happen. It was going to be closer to the capital, or is it going to swallow up the pool and the steam plant? They're not sure. I don't think they're going to be able to hold it back if it does do that. But I'm also seeing some push down in the Sandwich Islands and along the Antarctic Ridge, maybe even up into PNG and Santa Cruz Islands. Also, I'm going to be watching Sumatra and up into Myanmar, the Nias region of islands and the Sunda subduction zone right there. I think that's key. Might be something happening in Africa. I have not watched any kind of stuff, so I'm going to be checking that out. But yeah, my main thing is the Mid-Atlantic all the way up in Iceland. I think that's the biggest area to be watching right now. And as we go, you want to know where Uranus is? Well, there's Uranus way up there on the other side of the sun with Jupiter and Mars. We have Neptune, Saturn, and Ceres, Mercury, Venus, and our planet, and Makemake and Waimea all on this side of the sun. It's a little lopsided, but the main ones are definitely over there. So if we're looking at the sun, it'll be to the west, right? So we won't be able to see any of these unless a satellite gets out here. But right now, Venus is visible in the mornings, of course. All right. Looking at the tremors, we had a little bit of tremors activity yesterday. There's a little bit more, less, but still in Roseburg area. Some vibrations, right? Yeah, yeah. And we'll look quickly at the COD over here in the west and see what the heck could be going on. And there are some weather patterns moving in. We'll just see. And that could be some of the vibrations. Yeah, we'll see. This cutoff low is dipping pretty far. A big dip in the jet. Is that going to bring some weather to us? We have a high pressure over the southwest. And you can see how it's pushing through Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Missouri, and Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky. A lot of weather going up that way. In the storm index, as you can see, just in that same area I was telling you, Illinois and Iowa and Ohio and Kentucky. A little bit of Tennessee, central Tennessee. That's where old Timmy is, if he's working. And some stuff in Nebraska all the way into Missouri there. Severe weather climate says over Oklahoma, the heat. And air maps, that's all right. But it looks like not too bad, you know. No severity happening. Not much marginal stuff at all. Slight risk of thunderstorms late in the day, I would say. So that's happening. And across the states, we'll take a quick look. And again, the jet stream is rising up and over. My boy's out there working in his new gig, so he's doing okay. Doesn't look like bad weather. Turning some wrenches, preparing for the big push for work. Plenty of cold up in the north. There's been some real strange activity in the politics of Canada. We may touch on that a little bit. All right, so going on up to the buoys. Yesterday's buoy, we'll see if that's still reporting. Yes, it is. We have a secondary one in an area which don't like this one here. Let's go ahead and check this one out. Okay. All right. Oh, it's been bouncing a couple of days. Bing, 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 bing. All right. Maybe a drunk Chinaman out there. No, that's not Chinese. That's just drunk talk. I don't see a whole lot of wave height differences or depth, but could be related to the weather, or, you know, God forbid, a bad, you can see right here and then right here, much higher today. than it was on the 7th. So this one peaked out the trough. This one was rising in the trough. So over here in Kamchatka, again, we have another noisemaker. And check that out, man. That happened before. It's like something hit the buoy and it dropped a little bit and went right back up. This is not an earthquake. This is, submarine or drunk Chinaman saying, "We're here, mommy." Yeah. Not good. Not good at all. That would mean the Chinese are in the waters up here, and they're looking for our subs, which we know where theirs is already. We can spot them. Anyway, we be in the U.S. of A. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's go right into. It's a little early for the fires, but we did have some fires happening across the states. Looks like several fires here. Are they still happening here? Yeah, 2.46 miles up in Appalachia here. In Tennessee. Well, no, this would be in the Carolinas. Yeah. Couple little fires up there. And then out west, Tucson, we have a little fire going on. Yeah, off of U.S. Highway 70. And nothing else. Let's see what's happening up in the cold. Nada yet, which is really good. Yeah, really, really, really good. Florida has a couple of fires going on. At Red Horse and up by Deltona or Daytona Beach. A couple little small fires. Looking at the power outages. Again, up there in Michigan, 32,000 people without power. And this is pretty serious where they have 430 customers. 10 are out only in here, but 59% of the people without power up in this little county, Montmorency, whatever. Who makes some Cheboygan? Yeah, and there's a lot of about 1/4 of the people out of power there, and maybe a third or a quarter of the point or a sixth of the point of people in a Presque Isle. So a lot of people without power right in this region. And that could be the number of reasons, but, could also be the darn Canadians playing around. But I think it was due to the weather. We don't know. What else we can do? Might as well just tell you what this day in history, earthquake history, near the coast of Ecuador, had a 6.7 in 1976. Now, we've seen several big earthquakes up in that region, even down in here. But that is along the microplate, right? Panamanian Colombian microplate that attaches itself to the Caribbean plate. So we'll see if that's happening. If there's any repeated. El Reno, Oklahoma, 1952, a 5.5. Yeah. This earthquake caused moderate damage in El Reno, Oklahoma City, and Poncha City, including toppling chimneys, not chimneys, and smokestacks cracked and loosened bricks on buildings and broke windows and dishes. One crack in the state capital of Oklahoma City was 15 meters long. 5.5. 1952. Not good. Pawnee, near Pawnee, Oklahoma. Yeah, there we go. This is the coin. This is what the moment tensor is. The magnitude 5.8 on September 3rd, 2016 will continue to produce aftershocks. What the hell? What happened in 1952? Ooh, it had a, I don't know what the hell. I guess it had another one. All right, based on further analysis, it went from 5.6 to 5.8 on September 7th of 2016. Yeah. Issued on November 28, 2016. There is a 1 in 52% chance of an aftershock magnitude 5 or greater. And next month, and the likelihood of magnitude 5 or larger earthquake extended time window for 1 year, 1 in 9 or 1 in 11 or 9% chance. Expected numbers of aftershocks magnitude 3 or greater at up to 5 events within the next month and between 4 and 19 of the next year, it said, from 2016. The tectonic summary. September 3rd, 2016, 5.8 Oklahoma earthquake occurred as a result of a shallow strike slip faulting about 15 kilometers northwest of the town of Pawnee. The earthquake occurred with the interior of North America plate far from the plate boundaries. The preliminary focal mechanism solution for the earthquake indicates a rupture occurred in either left lateral fault striking or southeast, or right lateral fault striking northeast. The main shock location assigns all major regional southwest to northeast trending fault. Very difficult to correlate earthquake to specific faults. The region identification of the fault responsible for the event will require further studies. So, pretty crazy, man. And in 1952 and 2016, wow. Both of these. So that's what, 16 and 48. That's 58 years, right? No. 8 and 6. 14. 64 years. 64 years, right? Indonesia popping away. Work lurking, he says. Yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting, to tell you the truth. Let's go ahead and look at the earthquakes in the last 12 hours. We did do an update last night at 7. So if I miss the mornings, I'll try to do a report in the morning or an update in the evening, or I might do both. So the morning report versus the evening report, or update in the evening, one of the two. Sometimes I'll do that. Hey, we're watching something and then it begs to have more information slopped out there on you so you can be abreast of everything. Yeah, squeeze you. Yeah, be abreast, he says. 4.1 northeast Honshu, Japan, 15 hours ago. And I'm only looking at 4s and above. 5 in Taiwan, 13 hours ago. Eastern Turkey had what the hell did I say? Oh, Chiapas, Mexico had a 4.2. They had Chiapas, Mexico right there. As the armpit of South America, mid-Central America. 4.4 Fiji at a 567 depth, looking for up to a 5.4 in 1,000 miles around, shallow. More than not, the report or the event would take place as maybe as much as a 4.8 and a 200 plus depth, or around 200. Generally speaking, I've seen that lots happen. 4.1 northern Peru, 129 depth. Northern Peru, pretty deep, as you can see. Yep. 1952 is the same year as Tehachapi. Yes, sir. Again, adding to that pressing westward from the. I bet you something happened around the mid-Atlantic to push that 5.8 in 1952 and 2016. I wonder, Canuck, can you look those 2 years up and see whether or not there was something in the Atlantic that was pushing? While I'm doing the rest of the report here. And good morning, by the way. Nice to see you. And I see Susan, Red Wagon, and Timmy out there. Calmness, of course, my big sister, love her. Equation Dude, Lake Girl 19's in the house. And Amy is Ramble and Reg 2718. Good morning. Sue Louise came in with a 3.99 hours ago. Off the coast of Costa Rica, right down here, you'll see that off the coast, right in the trench, actually. Right in the trench. 4.0. And the Bonin Islands, Japan, again, 9 hours ago, come with a 4.5. Banging up here. So we got a lot of bangers here, and down here by Taiwan and Guam. You know, I don't want to see that island roll over like, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. 4.9, Kaplan Talud. Right there, 4.9. Right there, that's Sumba. Kaplan's right up here. Yep, that's Talud. Up by Halimarahara, ding-a-ding-a-ding. Both sides, earthquakes, bing, ding, ding. Look at that liniment right there. Oh. If you don't understand lineaments, spend some time with us. You'll figure them out. Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge, 5.3. Wow, that's pretty good size right there. That's north of the Ascension Islands, I believe. Yeah, the Ascensions are down here. Yeah. I want to make sure where that is. So bear with me while I figured it out. I'm going to figure it out. Go right here. Copy here. And then GE. She's eating her corn tortillas. Yeah, tortillas. You eating some tortillas? All right, so that's where the earthquake happened. You can see a little jump right there. And way down here is Cat Hill, Ascension Island, right? So Ascension Island's behind the bend. I thought there was another set. Oh, Cabo Verde's over here. A lot of rifting there. Man, I do not like the ocean. Scares me the hell out of me. Well, there is kind of a peak right there. So it's pretty far from Ascension. All right. So nothing to worry about on Ascension. But still, 5.3 mid Central Atlantic. Watching the doohickeys here, it could add some activity down here, Trinidad and Tobago or Caracas, or adding to the southern section of the Caribbean plate. And if that's getting pushed at the angle being pushed that way, depending on how these are touched, we might see something happen out here. Yeah, I do believe one plate pushes another and creates a problem for us. Veracruz, Mexico came in with a 3.7 as Oaxaca did 3.8 right afterwards. So we're talking 2 minutes after each one. So Veracruz is out here and Oaxaca's right here. So both of these, pushed from this. So draw the line, right? if we drew a line from here, right, to somewhere right here, you could see that that earthquake may have pushed just enough to cruise out that way. And if we kept it straight, you know, somewhere by north of Acapulco, we'll see if anything else happens. Panama, Costa Rica came in with a 3. Miramar comes up with a 4.7. Yep. New Britain, PNG had a 5 7 hours ago. Panamanian Costa Rican border came in with a 3.2. Quintaro, Mexico. I don't know where the hell this is. Let me see if I can find out where this is. Quintaro, Mexico. Map. Looking at the location. Well, that's not helping me. Oh, it's on the interior side of North American. The Gulf of America, north of, right along the mountain ranges. Interesting. Watch out, Texas. Quintaro had a 3.7. New Britain PNG comes up with a 5. So 5s are cheap over there. Oaxaca still saying that. And there's Miramar. Again, like I said, I'll be watching based on the solar activity. I'll be watching up there, Miramar, Nanais region. That's already been 2 earthquakes that I've seen on our list. Veracruz, Mexico, another 3.7. So that central part of Mexico, banging away. And here's that other one. So this section right here is banging away. Strong earthquake out here from the Atlantic, pushing up on the Caribbean plate, and you can see right here as well, pushing along that edge. Boom, yes sir. Puerto Rico comes in with a 3, 87 depth. Oh wow. Guerrero, Mexico, 3.9. Well, there's another proof. I was watching this area right here, and there's Acapulco, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Watching the lineaments. Okay, offshore, we got a 6.5, all right. What about the Atlantic, Canuck? Anything happening in the Atlantic the month before? Drinking unexciting coffee. Well, I'm on my second cup. Zing, zing. I can just play the music and I'll get to dancing, baby. Veracruz, Mexico, again, 3.3. Bouncing away, baby. Yep. Oaxaca, Mexico, 3.5. This region right here, to me, like I said, it feels like Mexico wants to release itself from the Yucatan Peninsula and Central America. It just seems like it wants to get up and go. But North America is in its way. But you can see quakes happening along this edge. Yeah, 4.4. Jujuy, Argentina, 219 depth. That's kind of an average dinger down there in Jujuy, which is right up in here, or right there. See? Oaxaca came in with a 3.4 and a 3.1 right away. Ba-ding-a-ding. And a 3.4. Ba-ding. All within the last hour, 4 hours. 5 hours there. Bang, bang, bang. And then the Canary Islands are starting to sing again. Yep. Up there. Second earthquake that I've seen here. Doing a doo-wacky. Michoacan, Mexico comes in with a 4.1. Wow. Michoacan, Mexico. Power moving north. Now, yesterday or last night, we saw several quakes up in the Delta or just outside the Delta. several strong quakes. Strong being 3 or bigger, okay? Java, Indonesia, Southern Java, ding, 3.7. And that was at 3 hours ago. Sumba region, Indonesia, 26. There's the Malacca at a 3.2. Here's the Sumba. It's the Timor region, right? Yes, sir. Western Texas, a little 2. Malacca Sea, then, banging away. Comes back with a 4. Over by Halemarahara. Yeah, we'll be seeing that. There's a Bali Sea at 2.6 right in here. Was it there? Yeah. Oh. A lot of activity in the southern part of this. That would let me believe that something's happening over here. Yeah, because over here is busy as all get up, and up here, this tells me something is happening over here in that other part of that triangle. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Miramar and all them. There's Miramar, comes in with a 4. I just said it. Yes, sir. North of New Zealand, a little 3.3. And yeah. Not quite the Chromatics, huh? Costa Rica, a little 3.2 to Central America. 5.0, Talud, Indonesia. Boom. Down there by Haramarahara. That came at 34 minutes ago. And there's the Azores again. Central Atlantic North, 3.1. All right? Pressure coming out of Europe, banging away. This is going to translate something on our side over in North America. And that does it for the earthquakes. Now let's go ahead and look at the volcano news today according to Volcano Discovery. Today in the news, April 9th, 2025, Santa Guido, Kluchevskoy, Simiru, Yibu, Takono, Raventador, Poaz, and Sangay. Sangay popping to 22,000 feet, 17 and change. Ibu popping to 7. It's like 43, 4600 foot, going to 7. Bing-a-ding, we've seen some earthquakes out in the sea there, the Malacca Sea. Poaz, Central America. Cartagena, no, Cartigo. Cartagena is a little bit south of there. Ah, man, I'm going to tell you. Miramar District. Wonder why that's in there. No, it's all Central America, Costa Rica. Santa Guido, Central America, going up there, up north from this one. 14,000 out of a 12.3. Yeah. Little Toby, popping to 9,000. There's Toby banging away. Tolo, right over here, it banged on over the weekend, real hard, or on Monday. Yeah. So boom, 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 and then up north in Halemarahara, banga danga danga. Yep. And me or Mother Appy was doing some stuff, and then we have Simiru down the way too. Speaking of Simiru, ding ding. Here's another one, right there, right? It's erupting, but they can't say how high because of the weather. But it is erupting. Raventador, 11,000, but they had sporadic ashes coughing away. Kluchevskoy up there in Kamchatka, 20,000 feet. All right. Yep. Boom. I don't know how large it is. Let's see here. 15.8 going to 20. So about 3,000 foot. And if we'll see that Kluchevskoy, right? I'll open up volcanoes. Zooming all the way out, right? Zooming all the way out over here. Kluchevskoy, right? Right there. How come? Mutnovsky. Why isn't this one on my list? Save the project. Mutnovsky. Mutnovsky. Well, it definitely was volcanoes why I had to put it in that list. See, there's another one here, this one here. Looks like a big, giant caldera, to tell you the truth. There's a big caldera that's been erupting for a lot of time, and this thing's popping up. Look at that little freaking crater here. Well, anyway. Here's this right here, Kluchevskoy. Big giant crater, right? And then this one, right? It's doing his thing, maybe. Ba-ting, ba-ting, ba-ting. All right, Reventador, up there in Ecuador. Incandescent avalanches. Reventador. Erupting. Look out. It's only 11,000 over there in Ecuador, so. Multiple glowing rocks, several flanks on the edifice. The effusive explosion eruption of the volcano continues as it remains essentially unchanged. Yeah. Read it all, baby. Near constant volcanic explosions taken from the summit crater reaches 14,000 feet. It's an 11,680 feet, so 2,500 to 2,800 foot poppers. Drifted westward, ash did. Multiple incandescent avalanches continue observed, reaching a length of up to 1,200 meters. So, a little bit of hot baby. A child in the city. Yeah. All right, show some more. Show me some more. Show me the hot child in the city. 3,000 feet out of White City volcano. White Island. White City, what? White Island. Remember just maybe 2 weeks ago, it was pumping at 15. That's again on that island when they had the boats come up there, let the people off, and that thing exploded on them, burning several of them, and also maybe killing a few. Sangay volcano, again, boom, boom, 22,000 feet out of a 17. So Ecuador seems to be real busy. And we have the Atlantic push, we have the north west of South America being pushed. We've got Costa Rica pushing, Mexico responding, North America responding. Reventador doing its thing. Santa Guido, no visible emissions happening, but they can hear it. Woo! Little Toby again over there in the end of the Sumba Strait, or the Sumba Rift Zone, 7,000 feet. Yeah. And I want to say it's 54, 56, 55, 87. Yep. Real close to what I was saying, eh? Nevada del Ruiz, they're in Colombia. It was busy this morning, but just like they know we can hear it, steaming. Ibu, Dacono Ibu, boom, boom, boom. Hallermatter area. And then Poaz up there in Central America. Central America. Poaz, volcano. Active. Here's Dacono. 8,000. The other one's doing 7. And all Semeru down there in Java, Indonesia. It's erupting, but I can't say how high. And Ecuador again. Each time the volcano pops, they put a note in there, just so you're aware. And as you can see, big trench, lots of volcanoes in here. Big trench, lots of volcanoes. They're not in here. I wonder what happened. Let's see if we can not get that other one. I think it's this one, There you go. Lots of stuff. Lots of volcanoes, old volcanoes, new volcanoes, dead volcanoes, living volcanoes. Right? Yeah. But, and that's the Pacific Northwest, by the way. There's a bunch right here in north of Canada, right? In Canada. Yeah. Maybe a volcano will end the wackadoodle talk up there. A lot of wackadoodles. Yeah. But anyway. Hey. Sorry about that. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, there should be there you go. The rabbit hole was created to dive deeper into subjects that needed further examination. Hi, I'm Joe, and my guest and I will take you on a journey of discovery and exploration. We will provide insight and theories regarding the subjects we discuss. Come join us live at joeslicklive.locals.com, or you can join us on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube. Thanks, and look forward to seeing you. And remember, don't get none on you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button, and we'll get her on here. So we should be expecting to get a 5 in Oklahoma, Canucks saying. One of those will happen. But anyway, I digress. Well, some big... Miramar just had a 4, by the way. Big deal with China doing its thing. Nobody cares. You know, China's been screwing the world, and so they say, oh, we're going to do 84% tariffs on your goods. Well, whatever, dude. We're doing 104 on you. Mitch McConnell, he's on his way out, so he's voting against the president and everything he can, because he's a closet Democrat. That's right. I said he's a Democrat. Comer Biden, EPA funded left-wing activist NGOs. Yeah. It keeps coming out, and it's crazy. Amazon, you know, it's weird, you know, because we're on Twitch, it's part of Amazon, right? They're deciding, I mean, they have the biggest warehouses as it is anyway, but they're considering doing a 15 billion warehouse expansion. Can you believe it? For about 80 new logistic facilities in the U.S. and rural areas. Bloomberg's reporting this. It's crazy, $15 billion investment. That's infrastructure for products that they have. E-commerce company has canceled orders for multiple products made in China or other Asian countries. Citing the document, it reviewed people familiar with the matter. The orders for the beach chairs, scooters, air conditioners, and other merchandise from multiple Amazon vendors were halted after Trump's administration's April 2nd sweeping tariff announcements, Bloomberg said, adding the timing of the cancellations, which had no warning, led the vendors to suspect it was a response to the tariffs. But, whatever. A lot of crap we've been getting from Asia has been just that, crap. Lake Girl says, Amazon already building a warehouse here in our area. Smaller, but we have our own delivery. Hit to the UPS and FedEx and USPS, I'm sure. Stocks are kind of all over the place. Let me see here. Gold on the rise, or $3,100 gold. Now remember, it's going to keep going up. Also, pretty wild. Most people who've seen the show Yellowstone, well, there's a spinoff. Yeah. The NASDAQ is at 15,386. S&P is at 4974. And the Dow, 37,625. Remember when it was up to, 42? When Trump left last time, it was at 30. So he helped develop his policies, helped develop that stock market going 10,000 points plus. And I think it was before he was in there, it was down in the 20s. But I remember 2008, it was down in the single digits? Yeah. America, baby. Oil dropping another 3.9%, down to $57. It's going to break the backs of the Russians. Yeah. Still anecdotal discovery of accidental challenges to the models of the early universe. Yeah, that's out there in articles, up there in Michigan, that's up in the north. I think there's not enough oxygen because Michigan's Democratic Governor Whitmer, she tried to say, they're trying to kidnap my monkey butt. I don't think so. It was a scam. And she's distancing herself from her party. Is she going to become a Republican? I hope not. We don't need that kind in the Republican Party, do they? I'm not a Republican anyway, so whatever. House Democrats are pushing for a congressional oversight to the Department of Government Efficiency. They are so afraid that their cash cow is going to die. They worship the money. Trump going after the money is going after the false power, the fake God, mammon. Breaking its back. If he can break its back and sacrifice that golden calf and burn it, let it be swallowed up with Hades, that would be okay with me. And a lot of people go down with it. You can't worship mammon. And power is confused. There's a difference between power and authority. Power is you want to wrest power from somebody else so that you have their power. It doesn't belong to you. Or it does belong to you when you use the proper authority. Yeah. Interesting word studies on that. Check it out. You might like it. I know there's already 70 different countries coming to calling up the I don't know who's heading up the merch department here in the U.S., but there are so many phone calls they can't keep up with them. Hey, let's fix the the tariffs. We don't want them no more. Hey, and also we don't sell goods. We want your goods, and we'll sell you ours. Let's work out a deal. Been perfect. Yeah, China is having a shit fit, but oh well. Japan and South Korea are both coming to the table immediately. They're the two biggest Asian companies come right away to the table and talk to powers that be over here in North America and saying, hey, let's talk about these tariffs. Let's get them wiped out and let's have a nice fair exchange of deals. Now, it doesn't mean that the tariffs will go to 0-0. There might be a small tariff on either side, but that's in the negotiating processes. That's what's needed to happen for a long time. There's no reason why Apple, an American company, is making everything over there in China. What? Yeah. So that's why China knows everywhere or anything about you. They're spying on you. You don't know that. Even our own government spies on us. But hey, yeah, you just got to stay ahead of the beast. He planted a magnolia tree? That's funny. Oh my gosh. What a putz. Oh my gosh. Good morning, girly girl. I think that's your new name, girly girl. Because you're not spacey in your brain at all. You're just a little weird, but not spacey. We kind of like your weirdness, though. We got tree hugger Vampy now too. Yeah, she's not a dingbat. She's a tree bat. Yeah. What we have? Yeah. The Iranian president says, we're not after a nuclear bomb. You bullshit. Bullshit. No. Another thing, the IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Force, chief urges troops to end Hamas Rafah brigade. Wipe them freaking out. End them now. That's what he says. There's a dozen House Republicans that are opposing the Senate's budget bill because it doesn't do what they told us that they would do. Cut spending. They're not cutting spending. I don't understand it. What's with the Senate? Who's in charge? House Speaker Mike Johnson is pulling out all the stops to nudge the process forward before lawmakers leave on Thursday for a 2-week spring recess. You're staying here. You ain't going anywhere. I can't live with myself and go back home and add a debt and deficits of any kind to the U.S., Burleson says. Yeah. Republican Eric Burleson of Missouri That's what he said, man. So Johnson said, we got to get this done. Well, Chip Roy says, hell no, of Texas. Why am I voting on a budget based on the promises that I don't believe are going to materialize? That's what he said. Representative Andy Harris of Maryland, chair in the Conservative House Freedom Caucus, said he even declined an invitation to attend the meeting with Trump. There's nothing that I hear at the White House that I don't understand about this situation, Harris said, according to Politico. They know. Trying to get something across she made it to Washington. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Thank you, girly girl. Conservatives are demanding as much as $2 trillion in budget cuts to help offset the cost of taxpayer breaks over a decade. Trump's 2017 tax cuts would cost nothing because of simply maintain the current policy. What some other people say, look, if they don't do something come January or come the next fiscal year, everybody's tax goes up 20% or something like that. Some crazy fucking number. Sorry. That gets me mad, doesn't it? It should get you pissed off. Call your senator. Hey, get with the program. Lower the deficit. Don't raise it. Destroy the deficit. Get a budget plan that's equal. A 0-0 net. Spend the money. Get the money. Spend the money. Don't spend more than we got. Ugh. The American people want and expect results. No more physical trickery, says Andy Ogales, a representative in Tennessee. The business as usual because nothing gets done because Congress is so screwed up. Paraphrase, David Schwarzkart of Arizona. Pretty big deal. Pretty freaking big deal. China claims its troops are not fighting in Russia. However, it's all over the news. A Chinese military dude was caught. And singing like a bird he was. Yep. Yep. Ukraine claims that significant numbers of Chinese nationals are fighting alongside Russia's invading army. Mm-hmm. And it's total BS, says Beijing. Well, I beg to differ. I saw the guy talking. You freaking liars. He says, oh, the Russians are joining their ranks on their own initiative. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's happened by people from the U.S. Yeah. Russia's in a bad way. I showed that earlier. They're not doing so well. Stalemate, and they're losing about between 12 and 1,500 people every week. Although they've gained some lands, they're losing lands as well. So it's going back and forth. Well, they'll gain, 124 square miles. They'll lose, a certain number. I don't know how much they're losing, but they'll lose more miles because they can't maintain it. And it costs them 1,500 men every day, let alone, 15 tanks, or maybe it's, I think it's 15 or so tanks, 20 tanks a week. They only make 15 tanks a day or every month, 50 tanks a month. And by the end of the month, they're at a net loss. Hence, that's why they're trying to get more stuff out there. Yeah. The Ukrainians are doing really well on some things, but they don't have the population to withstand what Russia's doing. So it's another lose-lose. $8,647 calls for violence against Trump and or Musk have happened. 55% of people who are out there of that leftist group, which is about 35% of the population, 55% of them think it's okay. That's a nutshell of what happened to the Democrat Party. 55% of the Democrat Party of 35% of the whole entire population who vote, which Republicans are and conservatives are about 40 to 45%, and there's about 15-20% of centrists. Yes, there are more conservatives and more Republicans. You just have to know that. But 55% of that 35% market of which the Democrats have held for years, and yet how they maintain power, ooh, we don't need to go there. 55% of that 35%. So what would that be? About 18% of the population is saying that it's okay to do violence against other Americans. So near 20% of our population that votes thinks. And now, if you look at that number, these are the people that started the riots, that did all this anarchy. That's huge, huge portion that get paid. Now, there's proof that a lot of them are getting paid on some things and maybe not so much on others. But you have to know that your neighbors, you have 100 neighbors, 20 of them have drank the Kool-Aid. If all of them vote. So if there's 30 that vote, 5 of them to 10 of them are wackadoodles. Yeah, no respect. Anyway. Texas AG Paxton is going to primary GOP Senator Cornyn in 26. Dude, come on, these guys are so corrupt. And the U.S. is still bombing these Houthis. It's got to get. I mean, we're not going in there on the feet. No foot patrols. But I guess there's evidence that they shot down one of our drones. So I think we just keep bombing the shit out of them. Down in the Dominican Republic, a roof collapsed in a nightclub, killing a bunch of people. 98 people were killed. Politicians were killed. Athletes were killed. I don't know. National lawmaker Brave Arcus was killed, confirmed dead. And 2 former Major League ball players. Monte Cristi Governor Nelsie Cruz had called President Luis Abinader at 12:49, saying the club's roof had collapsed and she was trapped. First Lady Raquel Abrahi told reporters. She said Cruz died later in the hospital. Nelson Cruz, a former MLB and former player. It was his sister that died. Former MLB Octavio Dotel and Tony Enrique Blanco Cabrero was also among the dead. Merengue singer Ruby Perez, who was performing when the roof collapsed, is still missing. Perez's manager Enrique Paulino, whose shirt had a bunch of blood on it, told reporters that the scene was the concert began shortly before midnight and the roof collapsed almost an hour later, killing the group's saxophonist. Sad. A lot of people died on that one. Don't know why it collapsed. Probably they were dancing when singer was going on. A judge got involved with the White House restrictions on the AP. A federal judge ordered the White House on Tuesday to restore the Associated Press's full access to cover presidential events, affirming the First Amendment grounds. You know what I'd do? I'd cancel all of them. You know what? Because of this radical judge, we're not going to have any more. So FUAP. That's what I do. Look, everybody, bottom line is this. If we're going to get radical judges involved, we're not going to help you anymore. We're not going to give you the things that you want, which is an inside track to the most open administration there is, because some of you like to write a bunch of bullshit. Fongu and good night, and we'll see you later. If we open up the house again and talk to you, we'll see. We're still taking this to the higher court. We'll see how the ruling is. We have the right to refuse service. Maybe we don't. He can stand his monkey ass outside the room. You don't have to be admitted in the room. We can put him in a separate room with a microphone or a speaker that he can get the information that he wants. That's what we do. And your First Amendment right's still there. You want to speak what you want to speak? Okay, you're over there. We don't have to admit you. That's what I say to them. The AP has been a bunch of bullshit for a long time. Most of these, Obama signed that law saying that the government can use the media to propagandize us, the American people. That has to be repealed. Why isn't that part of it? You tell me. Makes me hotter than hell, man. I'll tell you. These leftist judges who are put there to thwart anything and everything. Interesting that the mortgage rate right now is 6.61 from what finance has been saying, but I have it on a good partner that it's at 7. 30-year fixed rate is at 7% right now. FHA is 6.45. 15-year is at a 6.4. 30-year jumbos at 7.1. Wednesday's trend is extremely negative. Yeah. Can you believe it? You want to buy a house? Oh my God. Bass lending 6.4, 30-year fixed. Owned is 6.5. Home Plus 6.6. Allied 6.6. Bison 6.7. Strong 6.7. Mutual of Omaha 6.7. Trust Financial 6.7. Simply Home Loans 6.7. National Bank or NBKC 6.8. HSBC 6.8. Penfield 6.9. Rocket Mortgage 7.5. All of those are for a $400,000 home, $80,000 down payment with a score of 760 to 780 at a 30-year fixed. Right out here in AZ. So payment between $1,900 and $2,200. All those were APRs, by the way. Points, fees and points, anywhere from $6,500 all the way to $2,800, or $1,600. So, Bass was the highest at $6,500. A lot of them include points from 1 point to half a point. Is it a good time to buy a house? I don't think so. No. You're stuck in renting. Save your money. buy gold. Silver, too. In my opinion, I'm not a professional. I'm a pro, but not a professional. Anyway. Kilauea is still doing her thing. And oozing. Yeah. Terrible. I haven't seen today's report on Iceland. I'm looking for it, actually. Let me type it in here. Iceland volcano live. It's cloudy and yeah, you can't see much. And go. I don't know what they're called. Iceland's people called. BBC Meteorological Office. What are they saying? April 8th. Yes, as of yesterday, deformation measurements clearly show that the uplift beneath Svartfjallsvingi is ongoing. The current uplift rate is faster than the observed following previous eruptions. This may be explained by the large volume of magma, about 30 million cubic meters, that was released from the system during the most recent event. However, it's still too early to predict how the rate magma accumulation will develop. Past events have shown that accumulation rates typically decline as more time passes between eruptions. At least a week, and possibly several weeks, will need to pass before we can evaluate if and how the rate of accumulation will change. That's the latest. And that's your news this morning. So, remember, I'm Joe Slick. Don't get none on you. Have a good day. Tonight's rabbit hole, we'll be talking about the second portion of, well, it's like it's changed pretty radically, but we'll talk about the pyramids tonight. Thank you, everybody, and love you. And remember, don't get none in yet. Janet of Fenwick and Croatian Dude, Flutter Girl or Girly Girl. Calmness 55. Lake Girl 19, better known as Mrs. Montana. New Brunswick, Canada Guy, better known as Canuck. Ramblin' Wreck 2718. If I didn't call your names because you don't want it called, and I know I can see you, but just know that I know you're there, and that's okay. Timmy, Susan, and Luke, love you. Thanks for helping out, and much appreciated by all of you. Remember, you can see us here in the morning at twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live. All one word. And, yeah. Be here tonight, 7 o'clock. 9 hours, 16 minutes away from the next rabbit hole.